Welcome back, Screen Watcher Nation, to another Screen Watcher review. This time we are jumping way on back to 1984 for that age-old question on who are you gonna call? That's right, we are reviewing Ghostbusters. Watched it on the day before Halloween. Wanted to get the review out then, but just didn't have time because I wanted to run around in my Captain America suit because I was so proud of it. And thank you to everyone who has liked it on the Facebook page. It was super awesome to run around with my nieces and nephew as Captain America. Got a ton of props for it. Run around gaining candy with them. Obviously, I didn't get candy because that was a little bit too far for it. But Ghostbusters, I'm super pumped to do this review. But before I hop into it, do not forget to like and subscribe.
Shh, they're about to start the movie.
Okay, so Ghostbusters probably has one of the best casts of all time. Whether you're talking about comedy, talking about kind of horror genre, at least the creepy genre, or just movies in general. You have Bill Murray, who plays Dr. Peter Venkman. You have Dan Aykroyd, who plays Dr. Ray Stantz. You have Harold Ramis, who plays Dr. Egon Spengler. You have Sigourney Weaver, who was just blowing up at the time, who plays Dana Barrett. You have Ernie Hudson, who rounds out the Ghostbusters, who plays Winston Zedmore. You have Rick Moranis, who I love Rick Moranis. I don't think he gets talked about enough about his exit from Hollywood. I'll probably do a piece on him at some point in time. He plays Louis Tully in this movie. And then you have the assistant of the Ghostbusters, Annie Potts, who plays Janine Melnitz. It's just a phenomenal cast. With that cast comes a pretty gosh darn good plot, whether you're talking about a comedy or a ghost movie or just a good movie in general. So if you haven't seen it, where have you been since 1984? But if you haven't seen it, the plot is basically you have Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis, who are all doctors at a university in New York, and they study parapsychology and psychology, and they haven't really produced anything for the university. But a local librarian has this big ghost encounter, and you see some really great practical effects, especially for 1984, and she just gets the wits scared out of her. So they go out to investigate and have all of this interactions. I'm not going to spoil anything about that scene because it is a great scene. With some great one-liners as well. So they come back to the university and they're actually evicted from the university. So what happens from there on out is Bill Murray, which is Peter Venkman, Ray, and Egon decide they're going to start a company that is going to go and hunt ghosts down, capture them, and then keep them in a storage facility so that they can't go and haunt these places in New York City anymore. And they become the Ghostbusters, and that's where everybody gets the whole jingle, who you gonna call? You call the Ghostbusters. That since 1984, that's been the answer. Sigourney Weaver comes into the movie when her refrigerator, or icebox as she calls it, gets haunted by Zool, and Louis Tully, which is played by Rick Moranis, comes into it a little bit later. He's a neighbor of Sigourney Weaver, and then Ernie Hudson, who plays Winston Zedmore, is brought in later on onto the team as the final and fourth and final Ghostbuster, just because they start to get so many calls from so many different haunted buildings, and they start to advertise so far across New York City that they really start getting this big hype around them. Now, that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about. I'll get into a little bit more just because without talking about some of the other stuff, the climax of the movie doesn't really make sense, but the ghost experiencings start really ramping up, and the EPA thinks that the Ghostbusters are frauds and are causing these hallucinations in people by using noxious fumes and things like that. So they actually go and shut down the power grid, and it releases this big cataclysmic event, and that's where the big climactic event at the very, very end against Zool and Gozer and a whole bunch of other big baddie guys are, you know, coming through with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, which everybody's seen in the trailer, and all that. So it's a phenomenal movie. It's one of my most quoted movies of all time, and probably my last 30 years of living. My dad quotes it all the time. My older brother says he doesn't like it, and I don't really trust him anymore after I found that out. I just found that out this weekend. But it's one of the best movies of all time, in my opinion. You have so many one-liners. It's a good movie when it comes to a comedy. It's a pretty good movie even if you just take the comedy out and are just looking at it from a ghost movie point of view, like a ghost fighting movie. It's got good pacing. It actually kind of has some scary moments. Some of the ghosts are pretty creepy. Some of the things that go on are pretty scary. The character development is good. I mean, Annie Potts' character, she's a secretary, but you love her. Rick Moranis' character, he's a lovable idiot. It's phenomenally done. And even though it's from 1984, the practical effects, again, are phenomenal. Even the special effects are pretty decent. They hold up pretty well all the way up till now. And, you know, it's such an old movie. I mean, it's, what, 34 years old now. I still have fun watching it. I've seen it probably 30 times, maybe more, and I still laugh. It's still fun. It's still something that I want to watch when it's on. I still pull out the DVD, which that's the only way you're going to find it, and I would suggest if you find it, purchasing it. It's probably $5. It's going to be only on DVD. It's probably not even in widescreen format. It's going to be blocked off just because it's that old. But it's a great movie, and it should be watched by people. So that's my review of Ghostbusters. Have you seen it? If you haven't, what's wrong with you? But no, I'm kidding. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. Let me know. If you have seen it, let me know in the comments down below. What did you think about it? Do you disagree with me and agree with my brother and think that it's a bad movie? That is quite possible. But I'm going to try to get a couple of more reviews out there. But do not forget to like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. But other than that, this is the Screen Watcher saying hopefully your popcorn is always fresh and you enjoy your day at the cinema, whether it is at home or out at your local theater. Thanks, guys.